Hello and welcome to this introduction to centering prayer. I will give you a brief overview of this practice, but for more information, I invite you to check out the website for the Center for Contemplative Living, specifically Contemplative Outreach of Colorado. Here you will find much more information as well as classes and groups. There are centers for contemplative living chapters all over the world, but this is just the one that I am familiar with. In addition to that resource, Father Thomas Keating, one of the founders of the center, wrote many wonderful books that will certainly help guide you in your practice. I have included a couple of links and a book recommendation in the YouTube description below. One of the reasons why I encourage you to turn to this center for a resource is because I am not an expert or master of this practice. I am not certified to teach it in any way. I am simply a practitioner who has benefited greatly from this practice, and I wish to share it with others. Now, centering prayer is a contemplative practice with very old roots. Contemplative prayer in Christianity is centuries old. Father Thomas Keating and others resurrected, if you will, contemplative practice and prayer in Christianity through a method they developed and called centering prayer. And it was simply a way to make contemplative practice more accessible to folks in the modern era. The practice fosters a deeper relationship with God. The more you practice it, the more you develop a relationship with God, and as a result with others, and with your true self, or what some would call the Christ within. It can be spiritually healing in many ways, although I would never recommend that this practice take the place of seeking professional help for healing from trauma or physical healing or mental health care. It is a wonderful complement, however. In centering prayer, you are simply resting in the presence of God. This is not a prayer of words. You are not repeating a mantra. You are not focusing on your breath or a visual element or anything at all. The point is to just be. Now, the belief is that by just being and sharing your intent with God, to sit with God in that still, deep place within, you allow God to work within you and God's presence to be with you. You're not asking or expecting God to show up in any particular way. You are not expecting yourself to feel a certain way or have a certain experience or look for a particular outcome. You are just making yourself receptive to God's presence. It is very simple. And here I will share the steps with you. If you want, you can even follow along in a short practice with me. So first of all, sit comfortably. Any seated position will do. Close your eyes. This is similar to Jesus' instruction to go into your room and close the door when you pray. It helps block out any external distractions. Settle yourself. This is a good time to notice your breath, but you do not need to alter your breath in any way unless you're just uncomfortable with it. The point is to not notice or think about your body in any way, but just be comfortable. Next, allow a sacred word to surface. The sacred word will be something that you gently and silently say to yourself anytime you find yourself getting distracted by thoughts, which you will. Any word will do. It should just arise naturally and symbolize your intent to be with God. It can be God, it can be Yahweh or peace or love, for instance, whatever seems to rise from within at the moment. And now you just sit. Whenever thoughts arise, gently, not forcefully, but gently, allow them to float by. We humans are wired for mental activity. You do not need to try to have no thoughts at all. Don't try. You will find yourself only getting frustrated. Just notice them and let them float by without engaging with them. Now, if you do find yourself engaging with them, whenever you notice that, you return to that sacred word to bring you back to center. Now, you will likely hear noises in the background, and you just treat them the same way. Just let them be. We live in a noisy world. It is what it is. I once had a teacher say to listen for the silence underneath the sound. That might be helpful for you. And at the end of the prayer time, allow yourself to sit quietly in silence a couple more minutes before slowly opening your eyes. So, it is that simple, but it's not easy. You may find yourself wanting to see a particular outcome. You may find that you have expectations of how God should be or what God should do, or have an expectation of yourself. That's why there are classes and groups and books about centering prayer. It's not easy for anyone, but with regular practice, you find that it does get more comfortable. Now, in his book, Open Heart, Open Mind, Father Keating wrote this: transformation is completely God's work. We can't do anything to make it happen. We can only prevent it from happening. As this prayer becomes habitual, a mysterious, undifferentiated, and peaceful presence seems to be established inside of you. Some people say they feel that God is living within them. That tranquil presence that is always there when they settle down becomes their method of prayer. Now, if you enjoy reading, I highly recommend this book, but again, there are many wonderful books that he has written. So what is regular practice? Well, Father Keating suggests 20 to 30 minutes, 2 times a day, first starting in the morning and then another one later in the day. This is what I aspire to, but have yet to achieve in any consistent way. But even with what I have done over the years, I have seen a closer relationship with my God and a better relationship with myself. I have found some healing and growth and continue to. I am more aware of God's presence even outside of meditation. And I am better able, when anxious or other unpleasant thoughts arise throughout my day, to return to that calm center. I do encourage you to learn more and perhaps find an online or in-person group or class that can support your journey. Look for weekly videos on this channel that can get you started each week or each time you sit. These provide a prompt to get you settled, and then we sit together. Thank you for joining me, and blessings on your journey.